Hello and welcome to this late afternoon, early evening taste challenge. I have two. Now we're on to bourbon. We're back on to bourbon. I have two American bourbon whiskeys, not really well known, but I have them. I bought them. Well, actually, one was given to me, but they're available in the New Orleans area. This is G&W Private Stock Kentucky Sour Mash Bourbon. Straight whiskey. Aged 3 years, bottled by G&W Distillers, Scobeyville, New Jersey. Well, that's actually Laird Company. The cedar bottle, and I bought this in New Orleans, Louisiana, for $8. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, aged 3 years, for $8. Well, for a liter, sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Let's see. I forgot to put the pertinent information. Sorry about that. 80 proof, aged 3 years. Now, this is a product that comes from an old company called, well, price does speak. Thank you, Herbie. Comes from an old company that was Captain Morgan Private Stock. Yeah, I see that around. Wings and pizza. But this was a company called Gooderham and Worts, and it started back in the 1800s. G&W, and then they got involved with Hiram Walker Company. But the G&W Distillery closed down in Canada, I think, in the 1990s, and they had some properties in the United States. The company went, So other companies acquired the rights to the trademarks and the recipes. And I think the distillery is now like a shopping mall somewhere up there in the eastern provinces of Canada. So this particular product came under control of Laird Company. You know Laird, they make the famous Applejack brandy, apple brandy, but they make this today. Okay, I'll show you the website in a little bit. DD says proof, especially bourbon, also speaks, right? Brother Sullivan says, you. Cheers back to you. Now here's Jeppson's. They're famous for their Malort, which I've never tried, but people say it's terrible. I've seen Malort around, just never tried it. This is Jeppson's bourbon. Thank you, David. He gave this to me as a gift. A blend of straight bourbon from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Carl Jeppson Company. The actual name of the company is CH Distilling. Now there's a new label, but they still sell this old label around here. It's aged 4 years, and it's non-chill filtered, and it's 100 proof. 100 proof. So I'll be like talking kind of crazy in a minute. All right, so that costs around $30, 20. Yeah, you can find it around $29.99. About $29.99. So basically $30. You might find it cheaper, but actually my friend David found it on a discount. They had a closeout, not a closeout, just a special sale, and it was like half price. You got it for $15. Which I wouldn't look for that because it ain't gonna happen. But he found it about 2 years ago, about a year ago, a year and a half ago, and he gave me a bottle, and he was like, "Can you believe the price?" I was saying, "Really, I cannot believe it," because where I have seen it at Rouse's in Jefferson Parish mainly, we don't have counties in Louisiana; we have parishes. It's been running around $26 to $30. Now the Jeppson's, you'll notice the Gooderham and Worts, the G&W is darker. It's more amber, copper. And the Jeppson's a little lighter, which is interesting because the Jeppson's is a stronger product. But that wouldn't mean much. It would be the char level that would mean something. Now, like they say on here, it's a select stock, a a private stock. They don't make this. Okay, Laird Company does not make this bourbon. It's what we call a sourced bourbon, or if you live in the United Kingdom, they call it a independent bottling whiskey. It's a common practice in the United States and Canada and in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. They call it independent bottling, where they've got companies that are producing all sorts of whiskeys all day long. And what they do is they offer them for purchase. And so they make an agreement, and the independent bottler, they'll just buy the whiskeys and put their name on it. And sometimes they'll tell you where they bought it from, but other times they make an agreement where the company says, don't say where you got it, and they won't. But many times they'll say what it is. It'll be like Colilla, age 15 years, 2001 bottling, stuff like that. Like it'll be very specific. Other times they'll be reluctant to say. It just depends on the agreement. This one does not say where it's distilled. It just says Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Well, that gives you a lot of options. It could be Buffalo Trace, Barton 1782 Distillery, could be Glenmore Distilling in Owensboro, could be Heaven Hill, one of their distilleries, could be Jim Beam Company, Jack Daniel. I'm sorry, that's in Tennessee. Could be Wild Turkey. We don't know. We just don't know. But a lot of these companies will even say on their website, if you're interested in contract distilling, let us know, and you can contact them. I bet you're an Irish whiskey fan, Burley. So am I right? I don't know about Burley, but I am. You ever review any of the Jackson Morgan Southern Cream offering? I've never even heard of those. Looks like coloring added on both those off brands. Okay, coloring issue. I can clear that up right now. G&W is a straight bourbon, so it is forbidden for it to have coloring or flavoring added. All right, so it's a straight sour mash. Well, that didn't matter, sour mash or not. But by virtue of the fact that it's a straight bourbon, it cannot have coloring or flavoring. So the color you see is the natural color. I know it looks dark, right? It's very dark, but this is natural. This is not coloring added nor flavoring added. Okay, that's a fact. So it looks like a pretty rich product, right? And I'll show you the website in a moment. On the other hand, this is a blend of straight bourbons. And for whatever weird reason, you can tell I got that Chicago flag. For whatever strange reason, straight bourbon cannot have coloring or flavoring added. But a blend of bourbons is allowed to have both coloring and flavoring added, and they don't have to disclose it on the bottle. Isn't that bizarre? True story, though. I can show you that regulation. Those barrels must have been charred up nice. I know, an alligator char, the number 4 char. That's the highest level of char they've got. I think so. I think you're right. Alligator char. All right. I'll show you the websites. Not much to see, but a little, a little something. A little bit. Here's the private stock website. It just shows you G&W Private Stock Bourbon 80 proof. That's what it tells you. It tells you nothing. When did they acquire this brand? I don't know. Probably sometime in the last 35 years. Then there's a more elaborate one, G&W Private Stock 86 proof. Got a cork, wooden cap, more detailed bottle. Private stock from selected reserves, 86 proof, aged 5 years. And then they give you the mash bill. On this one, I can't what a white label is. 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12%. And, I have never seen that one in a store. Now, Not that I was on the lookout for it. I could have looked it, but yeah. But it's also a source. It's also sourced. It says from selected reserves. They send a team out there to Kentucky, pick the bourbon they want, or they send them samples and they pick. Now here's Jeppson's, also a sourced bourbon. They're claiming a rock solid bourbon. A blend of straight bourbon whiskeys aged a minimum of 4 years in new charred American oak barrels, which would apply to any bourbon, so that's a meaningless thing to even say. Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, 100 proof, non-chill filter. Oh yeah, I need to put that. 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. I don't know how they arranged that with 3 different coming in. You know, how did they pull that off? It's 3 different states. You know, it's just bizarre, but 75, 21, and 4. That's what they're saying. Is it the same ratio from all 3 states? Or do they have different ratios coming in from those different 3 states and then they configure it to be 75, 21, and 4? This I do not know and probably never will know. Okay. Put the 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley whiskey. And these are all, well, all bourbons are different whiskeys and they blend them together, okay? So they're taking like corn whiskey, 51% or higher in the blend because it has to be bourbon. Then you've got rye whiskey. It's distilled, fermented and distilled, maybe aged. They might age it after they blend it. That's up to the company. Blend it before or after the aging is up to them. And then barley whiskey, like they would call it in Scotland's single malt whiskey. And they blend them together and age them. Or they age them, then blend them in bottle. It's up to them. So a bourbon is a blended whiskey. Now, could it be unblended? Yes, you could make 100% corn bourbon. Now, I don't know who would want to drink it, but they might want to, and it would be bourbon, assuming it was aged in new charred oak barrels. Had to be 2 years to be straight bourbon, but it could be less than 2 and still be bourbon. A lot of people think bourbon has to be aged 2 years. Not true. Straight bourbon has to be aged 2 years. I think it would be good marketing if these distilleries would be more transparent with where they source their blends and additives. Would be nice to know, wouldn't it? No relation to half and ref or private stock. What I have learned from watching these tastings and reviews is that everything is not always as it appears to be. You got that right. I used to like half and rough or private stock, but I never could get it in Louisiana. We buy it on road trips. I bought 40-ounce bottles, pint cans, but unfortunately it was discontinued in 2014, so ain't nobody buying it. The private company, the family, the Half and Reffer family, that's an interesting story. The Half and Reffer family bought the brand back from Pabst. They probably went to Pabst and said, could we buy it back so our family could own it? And Pabst probably said, yeah, take it. Nobody buys it anyway. Something like that. So then they started selling it, and they had a nice little website with old advertisements on it and everything. But a few years later, they went out of business. Shut down, gone. What happened? Well, you know what happened. Wasn't enough money being made. They weren't selling it. I mean, yeah, you bought it. I might have bought it. Some malt liquor enthusiasts might have bought it because it was the malt liquor with the imported taste. Did kind of taste like Heineken. I think that's what they were shooting for, try to make it taste like Heineken. But, for the most part, most people paid no mind to it. And it did go out of business in 2014. And wasn't it a Falstaff creation years ago? Well, no, it was a Half and Reffer creation. It was a private company, but they were very small. And didn't it come under the Falstaff umbrella? back like around, the 1960s. And then when Falstaff collapsed in the 90s, then Pabst took it under their wing, and then Pabst said, yeah, take it. Those are the days. Sold at upscale stores of distinction. Yeah, I bet. Like the local corner convenience store. In Louisiana, we don't have liquor stores. We have convenience stores, gas stations, because in Louisiana, you can sell liquor from a gas station. But in other states, like Illinois, they have liquor stores. Yeah. All right, I have to close my eyes because if I look down and see the darker product, if I see the one that's darker, I'm going to know it's the G&W, the Gooder Ham and Worts. Now, G&W used to make all kind of products. It wasn't just two versions of bourbon. They had all kind of Canadian whiskey. It was a big company. So you might find a G&W gin somewhere. You might find a G&W rum, G&W Canadian whiskey, G&W extra aged Canadian whiskey, but it might be from 6 different companies. It's like Seagram's. When they blew up the company, they sold off the brands and the assets and the facilities to whoever wanted to buy it, you see. So Coca-Cola bought Seagram's ginger ale. That's why you see Seagram's ginger ale still today. It's owned by, and they have a diet version, but that's owned by Coca-Cola. I mean, they were probably making it all along. They were probably in collaboration with Seagram's to make it all along, probably since the 1930s, but they just took it over. And then Diageo took over Seagram's Crown Royal, now known as just Crown Royal. They dropped the Seagram's. Sazerac took over Seagram's Canadian Hunter, now known as Canadian Hunter. Pernod Ricard took over Seagram's gin. Infinitium Spirits took over Seagram's vodka. All still very popular. Then there's a company in New York that took over their beer flavors, Seagram's Escapes and Escapes Spiked, which are flavored malt beverages. But these are all popular. But in the public mind, you see, in most people's mind, they don't research these things, you see. They think it's a company, they'll think, oh, Seagram's, they make good stuff. And I always laugh to myself. I'm like, Seagram's don't make anything. It's just a name. But, they don't know that. Or, 7-Up, they make a good soda pop. Well, it's a brand owned by Keurig Dr. Pepper, KDP. But, it's just your level of research. I mean, I'm not expecting most consumers are going to research who owns what. I know they're not going to. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter. And, you got hobbyists like myself that will go into depth on that. But, the average person is not going to do that. They're just going to say, like, Banquet. They make good frozen fried chicken. Banquet is a name owned by ConAgra, Consolidated Agriculture Company, ConAgra. But in your mind, Banquet, they make, or Orville Redenbacher, he makes good microwave popcorn. Well, it's ConAgra. That man got so old, he sold the company and they took it over. I remember they had a news report on our local television where his great-grandson went to a local middle school here. And they were asking the kid, what is it like to have Orville Redenbacher as your great-grandfather? He said, well, he's nice. The kid didn't know what to say. His great-grandfather was nice. This was like 30 years ago, 25 years ago, maybe. But that's the case with most of these. They're started by independent people, but they get bought out because the independent person gets very old, ill, sickly. They can't own it, so they sell it. Or their family doesn't want to run it. or in many cases, the family's fighting over it, arguing, you're cheating me, you're cheating me. And then the grandfather's like, I know what I'm going to do to solve this problem. I'm selling the whole outfit. Ain't nobody getting nothing, except maybe some residuals, inheritance. And it smells like corn, a little bit charred oak, a little vanilla. Does it smell like typical bourbon? Yes. Is it anything outstanding? I wouldn't say so. Anything off-putting or bad? No. Now, am I going to be able to pick up on any added flavoring or coloring? I doubt that. And I said they're allowed to have flavoring and coloring, like the Jeppsons here. I never said they had to add it. I said they're allowed to add it, and they don't have to disclose it. If it's a blend of straight bourbons, straight bourbon cannot have flavoring and coloring in it. Over here, this one smells a lot lower profile. Like this one has kind of a bold aroma. This one has like a kind of, well, we could say washed out aroma, perhaps. So I'm thinking this must be the higher proof that would give it that more oomph, a little bit more punch. And I'm not ignoring your comments. I can't look down because if I see the darker color, I'm going to know it's the G&W. So I want to do this correctly. That is so mild. That is like corn starch, corn flour, which is like literally what the bourbon is made from, because they pulverize the corn kernels into like a starch or powder. I've seen them. I went on the distillery tour at Blanton's and I watched them do it. I saw them unloading the corn out of the truck into this big, what you call that thing? A hopper, I think they call that. Dennis hopper. But it was a fascinating tour. Oh, whoo! That's got some caramel in it. Rare caramel corn, kettle corn. Oh yeah, I think this is the G&W. It is much strong. I mean the Jeppsons. It's much stronger. That's got to be 100. I'm saying Jeppsons. Got it. Oh, I knew when I tasted that, no way that was an 80 proofer. No way, Jose. Okay. Seagram's demise was a shock for me. Well, I was kind of shocked too when I read about that, because I remember back in the 90s, they would always say Seagram's did this, Seagram's did that, like a big liquor company. It was like, well, they were literally the world's biggest liquor company. Now it's Diageo, but they just had this decision. They made this decision, the family, the Bronfen family, they made this decision. They were going to disinvest from liquor, sell off all their liquor assets, distilleries, brand names, trademarks, recipes, everything, and put all that money into telecommunications, which namely what we would call today streaming media. And they put it all into this French company, which is called Vivendi today, Vivendi, Vivendi, which apparently is like a multi-billion-dollar company, huge today. So might have worked out. And they didn't get money for they didn't sell that stuff and get money. They sold it and got stocks in Vivendi. And then they had the that year 2000 recession. So everything went down. All of a sudden, everything went down. And people said, you ruined the company. Everything went down. But in 25 years, probably recouped, right? So they might be living large today. I don't know. But they lost interest in liquor. back in the 80s. And they started back in around 1985. That was the year. I read that New York Times article. They had lost interest in liquor, and they shut down General Wine and Spirits, got rid of all their vice presidents. And that was a big outfit at one time, General Wine and Spirits. It's kind of like their lower end products, which they made a ton of money off of. And then they started selling their brands to other companies. They sold a whole load of their portfolio to Sazerac in 1989. Then they turned around and sold a bunch more to Heaven Hill. And then in 1994, a whole bunch more to Jim Beam Company. And then 6 years later, they sold the whole outfit, started just like auctioning it off. You know, who wants Crown Royal? Oh, you know, everybody was like, me. And Diageo got that. Divestiture, right. Vivendi, right. I think a lot of your people start, oh, wait. Makers of Marie Callender's TV dinner. That's right. ConAgra. If you look at ConAgra's website, it'd take you about 2 hours to look at all the brands that they own. You might get a headache. Look at, yeah, Act 2 popcorn, says Burley Sullivan. Oh man, it goes on and on. I think a lot of younger people start these breweries in hopes of being bought out. That's right. But they're deceptive. You know, some of these guys are phony. They'll be up there like, oh, it's a movement. Brothers, sisters. They make it like a cult, you know, like we're part of something big. This is important, man. And people buy into all of that stuff, all that foolishness. And so then they are all heartbroken, like, I can't believe that Goose Island sold out, man. I can't believe Stone sold out. Well, why did you think they were being legit? You know, you didn't see you were being fooled. It's sad, you know, that you're going to make it like a life's mission to buy a company's products. And then they sell out and they're on a yacht drinking, what are they drinking? Champagne cocktails. And then they're passing judgment on your family. And you're all heartbroken because they sold out. Their seed division. Okay. All right. So last comments on this. Personally, I speak for myself. I don't speak for others. Never have. I prefer the 80 proof. Okay, I've said this before, and some people came at me, you know, like you're not a real whiskey reviewer because all true whiskey tasters prefer high proof and barrel proof. Okay, I never read that rule. I must have overlooked it. I prefer the 80 proof G&W. It's smoother, milder, more mellow, and it's more to my physiology. I don't know. I'm kind of small framed and not a big person, not a tiny person. I'm not a little person. I know Jerry Simon or Kramer was afraid of little people, but I just prefer lower proof. You say, yeah, but with beer, you like high alcohol. Yeah. So I'm somewhere in the middle, right? High alcohol beer, low proof liquor. And for wine, well, it's hard to say. I do like those dessert wines at 18%, but I'm not like these crazy people on TikTok drinking a huge gulp of it. I'm not out of my mind. Some Seminize. What are you saying? Oh, the seed division. Yeah. I know Anheuser-Busch owns malting companies. Like, so you might have somebody in Idaho works for a malting company, but most of their family may not even realize that they actually ultimately work for Anheuser-Busch InBev. Just like you might work in Texas for Texas Glass. Oh, Longhorn Glass. It's called Longhorn Glass. So you go to work, you make bottles, but it's actually owned by Anheuser-Busch. Always has been, Longhorn Glass. OOPS division. Agree. The lower proof as well. Just hard to get past the hotness of higher proof, says Williams and Peter. I'm not alone. I thought everybody was ganging up on me because I thought maybe I was the only person in the world like lower proof, 80 proof whiskeys. And I've had people tell me that, like, to my face, you are not a real whiskey drinker if you like 80 proof whiskey. Which I don't even understand that comment. It's like, okay, so people that like light beer are not real beer drinkers? Well, you know, there's some people that believe that in their mind. Their mind is warped. Now, I had somebody tell me, well, you could just buy Wild Turkey 101 and add water to it and bring it down to the 81. Now listen to this reasoning. Now, check this reasoning out, this logic. Don't buy 81 proof. It's just called Wild Turkey for $18. Now, think about this. Don't buy the Wild Turkey 81 proof for $18. Buy the Wild Turkey 101 for $24 because you could just add water and bring it down to 81 proof. I'm thinking about this. Now, I could buy the 81 proof for $18 where it's already been processed down to that proof with adding tap water. But I could pay $6 more for the same size bottle of a 101 proof, 20 proof higher, and I could add water on my own and bring it down. Now, do you see where there's a logical discrepancy there? Because I saw that like on the jump, and I'm being told this, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that. Theoretically, how much water would you need to add? I don't know. I guess I would let the distillery do that since they do this all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They probably know exactly how much water to add. And I can just buy it bottled, save this, and drink what I want. And then the other part of the logic was, well, it's the same mash bill. No, get this. It's the same mash bill. They just add water to bring the proof down. So my counterpoint was, so why would I pay $6 more? What is the point? But, oh, this thing is strong. I mean, I know you're laughing, like 100 proof is not strong. Not strong for you. That might be your water, you know. But this 100 proof is just like, it is, to me, it's kind of rough, you know, like it's hard to take. I mean, I'm drinking it, obviously, and I don't dislike it. And I think it has a really good flavor. Oh, you love cask strength, see? There was a theme today. Oh, Hector. Oh, no, no beer theme, no. Sorry. No beer tonight. The basketball game started 5 minutes ago. I'm gonna go lay down and watch. So, to close this out, is Jeppson's a good value? Well, I guess so. If you want to pay $30, $27 to $30 for a blend of straight bourbons, I guess it's a good value in your mind. I honestly, I'm just going to be honest. I would not have bought it. Probably never. I mean, just wouldn't have bought it. I got a lot of other things I'm going to deal with in the bourbon world, and it wouldn't involve Jeppson's. But David found it for $15, and he gave it to me as a gift. So, of course, I'm dealing with it. Just telling you. Now, G&W, would I have been looking to buy that? Not really. But when I went to the Tulane game, well, I was early. I got to that game early, and I was like, well, they're not even opening the gates yet. But that's all right. I'm going to go look at Ely House. They always have interesting things over there. It's close to the stadium. So I was right there on United States Highway 90. Well, not on the highway, you know what I'm saying, walking next to it. It's a 4-lane. It's a 3 lanes west, 3 lanes east. So it's dangerous, very dangerous. But they have the police patrols during the game. They'll stop traffic and let you go across. But otherwise, be you know. But So I went there looking around casually and I saw it. Oh, look at this. $8. I couldn't get over this. $8. And I looked at it, a liter. I said, well, I'm going to buy it. So I bought it. And I had to walk all the way back to my car, which I had parked on the side of the highway, put it in there in a safe spot where people wouldn't see it, because, cities, they see stuff, they break your windows and take it. I tried to be careful with that. So then I got home and I put it in my back stock, and now I've finally gotten to it. But to pretend like I was looking for it, nah. No way. I was never on the lookout for this product. I stumbled across it, $8 a liter. Naturally, I bought it. Now, there are other bourbons that I was actively looking for. Jim Beam Black, the extra age, that one was discontinued last year and replaced by Jim Beam 7-year age, which I did buy. I paid about $20. And then and then Mathern's had it for $7.99. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. $7.99. I don't know how they pulled that off. I really do not. I'm talking about a full size bottle. $7.99. Jim Beam Black, 7-year aged. I was just so disgusted when I saw that. I said to myself, a month ago you bought it, you paid $20, 20 something dollars. Well, I didn't know they were going to sell it for $7.99. I wasn't going to repurchase it. It's going to take me 10 years to get through what I've got. But I was looking for that. I was looking for Jim Beam Devil's Cut, which I found. I was looking for Jim Beam Double Oaked, which I found. And I got good all these. I got really good prices. And I was looking for the Jim Beam, what they call it, Sunshine Blend. It's a new one. It's really kind of unusual. Sunshine Blend. It's rare, kind of rare. But I had to buy it. I had to buy it. It was like $15. I had to buy it. Get a Maker's Mark Elijah Craig Buffalo Trace under 25 or closer to $30. Four Roses small batch or Eagle Rare. I'd never pay $30 for that Jeppson's. No, I wasn't going to do it either. Because like you're saying, all those products, I can get those around here for that. When Eagle Rare comes in, it's $35. I don't think 40. Whew, that's strong. But that is what they sell it for around here, about $27 to $30 around here. But I'm not buying it. But I don't have to because it was given to me. So I've got a good amount left. This will probably last 2-3 more years. But my personal, now the flavor is even. The flavor is even. They both have a good flavor. I'm not going to pretend they don't. They do. They have good flavor. Too many great brands out there, says DD. I know. You could never accomplish the task. Like you could never say, I'm going to try everything. That's not possible. You cannot. You got to get out of that. You can't do it. But G&W, it's a great find. Like I said, I don't know who makes it, but if we found out, it'd probably be like, oh yeah, okay, Jim Beam, naturally, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like a big company. But it is bottled in New Jersey, of all things, by Laird Company, and I'm glad I found it. And for $8, that's like Claude would say, that's free. That's free. You got it for free, essentially, yeah. So I really love the flavor. I love the body. I love the mildness, mild body, mild flavor, mild proof. It's just so mellow. I think it's a wonderful product. The sour mash gives it that little sourdough flavor. Could this compete against Jim Beam or your Evan Williams or these? Or I think it will compete. Very definitely will compete. Now, I was able to these two apart, but that, you got to take into account 100 proof versus 80 proof. Not much chance you're going to get those confused. But I have a lot of other 80 proof products, and I think it's going to be a real interesting series. So let's end this because we've been going on forever. I get it, Ron. Oh, tried to you. I see what you're saying. You tried to taste every bourbon in the world, and it's impossible. Tom says, "Can you find?" Oh, he says, "Great that you can find all these whiskey and bourbon brands. It is great. I mean, I really benefited from Louisiana's amazing prices. Probably had something to do with being a port city, right on the Gulf of Mexico. I'm sorry, the Gulf of America. Oh my goodness. But just a lot of cross. You got shipping and railroad, and it just. I think it makes that cheaper. Uh, our liquor stores in Denver seem to carry the top 30 brands, and we miss a lot of variety. Now you get a lot of railroad and interstate highway travel, of course, but naturally being in Denver, you don't get the shipping on the coast, so that makes a big difference. I have the time, sir, laughing out loud. Okay, good. All right, but I got to get out of here. Actually, I don't. I could go on for hours, but out of here. I'm going to go watch some college basketball, and so the winner. Well, I'm the winner because I could tell them not much of a challenge, honestly. 80 proof versus 100. So to be fair on that, I say personal preference. Quality, they're even. Quality, they're both sourced. I mean, for goodness sakes, they could be sourced from the same parent company. I don't know. But my personal preference winner is G&W. I really like the flavor, and I'm so glad I bought it. Gooderham and Worts. Jeppson's a little bit too high proof for my mild preferences, but it is I'm not paying no $27 to $30 for it. No, that ain't happening. Ain't gonna happen. All right. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.